Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 150 of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of JakesTake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. Now, before we get started, if you're watching this video, please give us a thumbs up on YouTube and also please subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening to our audio version, please give us a 5-star rating and also subscribe to the podcast. I have an incredible guest for episode 150. For over 30 years, he has worked in the music industry. He has worked with some of the talents like Bush, Goo Goo Dolls, Hearts, Kiss, No Doubt, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and Tiffany. He's the executive producer for Becoming Alex, an upcoming show on the Heartland Network. I am so honored and thrilled to welcome Mr. Joel Wertman to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe. It's an honor to have you on episode 150.
Honor to be here.
Alrighty, so let's get started, shall we? In your humble opinion, how has the music industry evolved over the past 30 years? Has it evolved for the better, for the worse, and why?
That's kind of a mixed bag question. It's better because it's a little more transparent. It's not as good because it's far more crowded, and I think it's a lot harder to a starting artist has an opportunity to get seen at a very low level, but to break out big, it's tough. It's very crowded. There's too much out there right now, and it's only getting more crowded. So I think in that respect, it has not evolved to a better place. But it's if you're tenacious, you can get started a little easier, but it's very hard to get to a place where you're actually doing well.
I totally get it. I totally understand. A lot of my artists that have come on to the podcast have said and revealed the challenges that they face breaking into this industry and how they've overcome those obstacles.
Yeah, they're difficult now, and that's the problem. And because there's so much access, I see that there's kind of a real sense of entitlement that seems to go along with that, and that I don't think that's a great thing. It changes the way you want to work at it and how you develop your craft, and that's made for it's created in the same time that it creates opportunity. Also creates a big negative thing, because people who really shouldn't be in this business and shouldn't be artistically inclined, they get there and they kind of get very small validation, and then it just the field gets so crowded that it's really hard to get to the light.
I know it is, but you've had the opportunity to work with so many incredible recording artists and bands over your career, such as the Goo Goo Dolls, Heart, Kiss, No Doubt, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and Tiffany. So, what was it like developing their respective sounds? Because those names are impeccable in this industry.
Yeah, well, they were, all those artists were very committed to their craft, and because it wasn't a time of instant gratification, there was time to develop, and some of them took a long time. I mean, the Goo Goo Dolls took almost 5 years, and that was a good thing. I mean, they became real, legitimate artists, and I don't think that opportunity exists much anymore, and that's the sad part. Because you just don't, it's very rare just to come on the scene and happen. Extremely rare. Like, you need that time to develop and to really hone that craft. I mean, it's a real craft. And if you don't get that opportunity and get that time, then you're just not going to do much.
And I think with all those art, when I'm thinking of those artists that you have on your resume, and I think of the songs like for Goo Goo Dolls, I think of Iris and Broadway's Dark Tonight. I think for Hearts, I think Alone, and then Kiss, there's Shout Out Loud and playing with Fire. So many.
Yeah, but those songs
Detroit Red City.
Exactly. Those songs took a long time to come to fruition. They didn't just, like I said, they weren't out of the gate. Goo Goo Dolls, Iris was literally 5 years after their career started. I mean, they evolved.
Yeah, so I would love to talk to you about becoming Alex. Can you describe the show's origin to my audience?
Well, the origin of the show is really came out of my head, basically. It's kind of my story, but it's a female. But it's lots of things that I did coming up and things I saw and things that were of importance to me, and just, it's all very much encapsulated, but it also deals with a lot of very topical issues that, I've seen over the years, and I think are extremely important and need to be dealt with. And it's not just about the artistic side of it, but it's real social issues that feed into the artistry, and the artistry can make a big difference in certain social issues. I mean, that's kind of what we're here for, is to try to make that difference. And the show itself is basically, the line that kind of encapsulates the show. It's a retrospective look at an artist who's made it, has lost her way in commercialism, and wants to look back to see how she got there and how she lost her way and find her path all over again. And that's kind of what it's about. And again, it's kind of a broad subject, but it is very, I think it's important. Like, it's very, people can vest in the character, and they can vest in the ideas of the character. And that's the goal here.
Awesome, Alex. So how is it? So how is the casting process going along, and how is it imperative that the actors have a strong chance of musicianship and or good voices?
That's, well, for the lead, it was extremely important. That was key in casting. And we went through a lot of girls, women, actresses to find that lead. I mean, a lot, like well over 60. And the voice was key. And I wasn't really looking to do something where I would have to ghost an actress. I really wanted the whole package, and I looked very hard for that. And the girl we finally settled on and cast, I mean, she's young, and she's got a phenomenal voice. She's a great actress. I mean, she's a great package, and she, again, she's an interesting person, because she's not, she's had a very unique upbringing, and she really has felt a lot of the issues that we're talking about in the series. So she's uniquely suited for it.
Awesome. So Alex. So the series will focus around Alex Russell,
Right.
and also so some of the show's expected to tackle several current event topics such as civil rights and the Me Too
Correct.
movement. So how has the Becoming Alex production and writing teams prepared to sprinkle those topics around those episodes?
Well, those topics are central to the episodes, and there's storylines that carry through it. And again, the character is she's heavily involved in. It's kind of an awakening for her as she grows to actually understand, and it's what those social issues, they actually happen to her, and she has her own unique perspective of looking at it through the series. Uh, but again, it's very, they're difficult subjects to deal with, especially, like, I mean, we have one uh, racially motivated episode, and it's basically built around the Black Lives Matter movement. And again, it's from her perspective. It's like, it's how does she see it, and how does she grow and understand that and convey it to other, well, within the series, to other people in the series who, again, have different ways of seeing things and may not have been exposed. It's just, it's topical. It's meant to spur discussion, and that's kind of what we hope to do.
I know you guys will be able to do that and spur discussion. I could definitely see social media go in and talk about these episodes of Becoming Alex.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, few series tackle this stuff, because it's, sometimes it's not things that you want to, you try to keep it as down the middle as possible, and networks are difficult to deal with because of that. But I'm not actually in that position, so it makes it a little easier for me.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think they're important subjects. I mean, they just got to be dealt with. It's time.
I totally agree, and you have to, especially in this era of television, because there's been you have to make this mark on the era, because there's only a few shows that I can remember from the 2020 so far, and like I can name them top of my head, and some of the shows like WandaVision or Loki, or Boba Fett or The Mandalorian, they escape. They don't even tackle that kind of issue.
That's right. That's right. And yeah, I mean, they're good for what they are, but again, we're not living in a bubble. So
absolutely. So becoming music plays a essential part of becoming Alex. So I would love to learn about the Becoming Alex soundtrack. So how is that coming along?
a lot of that's recorded already, and the first single will drop actually this week.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, we have I think the music's extremely strong, and we kind of flirted with a couple of singles already last year that did quite well, but this is the first one from the lead, and very strong. I think it's going to make quite a mark.
Now, will there be different genres? Like, will there be a country song or a pop song or an acoustic rock song? Or will it just be one types?
No, the quick answer is yes, but I think, based on where music is right now, there's no single formats anymore. I mean, they're kind of all interrelated at this point. And I mean, if you look at the charts, there are a lot of similarities between all formats. And I think, if you establish at one place, it's not so hard to cross it anymore, because audiences are audience. I mean, it's all about the song. If the song is good and it resonates, they're going to listen.
Absolutely. And songs are and I cannot wait to hear some of those songs. And I gotta tell two of the songs that I love from this record, from what you wrote, I gotta say, So Many Veronica, So Many Lies. I gotta start, and I would love to learn the origin of that song and the story behind it.
Very personal song. So that's about all I can say.
Yeah.
Very personal song. It's based on a relationship. And a lot, I mean, songwriters are quite personal when they write, and they're usually basing things on their own experiences. And, a lot of this stuff was written by my son and myself, and they're definitely based on personal experiences.
I love it when you hear a song and it gets personal, and you talk and you can tie it into your own experience.
Yeah, well, that's what makes them relatable. I mean, everybody finds their own thing in a song if they listen to it, and if they do, then the songwriter's done their job. I mean, it's all about relatability, and it's not like you do it on purpose. It just, if you're really open and honest about it, people experience a lot of the same stuff.
Awesome. So I would love to talk to you about another song that's probably on there, Homesick, I believe. Homesick.
Yeah, Homesick. Yeah, that was a very interesting song. Again, same. Sorry, go ahead.
It reminded me a lot of like a little bit of Tiffany.
Yeah, it's got that feel for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, again, same thing. Personal experience song. And again, it's relatable. People are going to relate to that song in very different ways. But the core of the song is, it's kind of about it's not even relationship oriented. I think it's about the relationship with yourself. And,
awesome.
Again, it's their subjects. I mean, I think people feel that stuff all the time. I mean, I felt it. I wrote about it.
Awesome. So have you and your team thought about any guest stars that you want to bring on, and how would their presence enhance the show's plots?
Yes, we have. And I'm not, unfortunately, one of the problems right now with COVID, it's very hard to make that kind of stuff happen. And I guess the quick answer is yes, we have thought about it. Whether or not that's going to happen, I don't know. But the question about how it would enhance a plot, I don't think it'll make a difference. This show is very character driven, and it's more about the writing and the characters involved, not about star power. So, yeah, you get somebody that's sort of identifiable with things. Yeah, it never hurts. But again, if the show can't, if the writing and the series can't carry itself without star power, then you haven't really done the right thing with respect to the writing aspect. I mean, it's got to be able to carry itself, and it's got to have the tone and the what it's conveying. It has to resonate.
Awesome. So there are two. All right, we got to start winding down our conversation. So, if you had to have the chance to meet with singers and bands who want to advance their careers in the recording industry, as crowded as it is right now, what advice would you share with them?
I think the most important thing is to hone your craft. I mean, that is the most important. You want to be a songwriter or you want to be a singer, you work at it, and don't think that it comes easy, because if you're not going to work at it, I don't think you're ever going to get there. But you got to be committed, and you got to be, it's just not an easy ride, and I think you got to be prepared for it not to be an easy ride. And it's not, just it's not something, I mean, you might get lucky, but if you actually want a career and you want to say something, you got to stay with it, and you got a big responsibility to your public if you happen to be successful, because it's never about just the artist. It's about, it's about who's listening to you. Like, you got a massive responsibility to that listener.
And also, like and also with social media as well, because a lot of
Social
artists
media
get.
isn't, yeah, it all matters now, but it's not one thing is more important than the other. I think it's all kind of, they all feed into each other at this point. But again, for me, and it's always been the same thing, the bottom line is the song. If that song's not there, it doesn't matter. Nothing you're going to do, there's no tricks that get around that.
I totally agree with that. So, last question I have is, where can I find the Heartland Network? Where can I find some of the music that's was spoken back in this podcast, and any other projects that you are working on right now?
Well, you can find all the music on the regular streaming services like Spotify, all of them. It's there. As far as Heartland Network, it's a national network. It's available practically in every city. If you can't get it through cable or over the air, go to Roku. It's there. I mean, it's every streaming device. It's available.
Awesome. So, guys, if you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, visit our podcast channels on Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, and Spreaker. That's just type in Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Head to our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube page, Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. And just to let you know, guys, jakes-shake.com is still in the middle of its 10th anniversary celebration. So you can head it over to there for more articles, more interviews, and reviews. And also, please consider heading to my PayPal platform to help jakes-take.com and keep my help platform up and running. Joel, thank you so much for your time. It's an honor to have you for episode 150. I am so looking forward to becoming Alex.
Thank you. Appreciate your time and appreciate the interview. It's been fun.
Thank you very much. Have a great day, guys. And thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for listening.